Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If we could kindly take our seats, please. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. It is the Corobrik SAIA Awards of Merit and for Excellence in partnership with Coverland. My name is Nomalanga Stole, Intombe Balamalanga, Sizulugalane, Sagojobe, Kamachana, Umondise. If you're African, South African, you know what I've just done there, right, ladies? Hey! Thank you. Tonight is a incredible evening, auspicious evening. I want to welcome those that are watching us via live stream at this point in time. I hope you get to feel the energy, the celebratory evening whilst you're in the comfort of wherever you are. Yeah, thank you. And to everyone here this evening, you look absolutely dashing. Can I have the gentleman standing up, please? Gentlemen, please stand. You can put your water down. You can pick it up. Gentlemen, stand up, please. Oof! Stop it, I like it. No, you can put your water down. He's like, what is she going to do? Ladies, say, why are you still sitting? Thank you. Ladies, can we give our gentlemen the most incredible ululation because they just look dapper? Gentlemen, you may take your seats. I see some gentlemen blushing. That's how we roll. May I ask the ladies to quickly stand? Yes. Ooh, that was a quick one. Ladies, I'm going to ask you to do one thing for me, please. Just let's do a turnaround. Let's do a turnaround. Oh, stupid. Do a turnaround, ladies. Do a turnaround. Look at each other. Tell each other you're looking absolutely good looking. There you go. Look at you. Gentlemen, please give our ladies a huge round of applause. Woo! Thank you, and thank you. We are streaming on YouTube, so if you have somebody you need to quickly tell, please do tell them we are streaming on our SAIA page on YouTube. I'd like to acknowledge my following guests. SAIA President, Architecture, Claire Makaska, and the SAIA Management Committee, National and Regional staff members. A round of applause. I'd like to welcome Corobrik Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Nick Booth, and his team. Coverland Managing Director, Mr. Devalt Nokia, and his team. South African Council for the Architectural Profession, SACAP Council Member, Dr. Jennifer Mirembe, attending on behalf of the SACAP President, Architecture Charles Ndoku. Yeah! 2023-2024 Awards Adjudication Panel. In his absence, Architecture Mukena Makeka, Architecture Adima Davis, Architecture Justin Cook, Ms. Karabo Mutsepe Marutla, and Mr. Willem Grove. I'd like to acknowledge Gauteng Institute for Architecture, a region of SAIA, regional president, my apologies, architect Janet Simon. Pretoria Institute for Architecture, region of SAIA, regional president, architect Danette Vetman. All the SAIA members, architects and practices who have entered their building, research and work of social importance projects into the 2023 Corobrik SAIA Awards of Merit and for Excellence in partnership with Coverland. And last but not least, we would love to acknowledge our Jewish brothers and sisters who are currently observing their New Year today. A round of applause, please. I just want to quickly do some house rules. Like any house, we have rules. As you walk down these passages, if we need emergency exits by any chance, please follow the green running man. Our bathrooms in South Africa, we say, keep going straight, short left, and then short right. The gents are on your left, and the ladies will be on your right. This event is being recorded, so I humbly ask any of the guests that are asked to come onto the stage, please try and avoid walking in front of the camera, because we would like those that are live streaming with us access to what is happening in the room. And lastly, please asking to just the chatter a little bit. As somebody comes on and they speak, please give them the ear, allow them to speak, and then after that we can do the chatter. I used to be a banker by profession, so if I hear a do-do-do-do, on the phone, 50 rand, thank you very much. So I'm hoping at this point, in fact, let's take out our phones at this point. Let's put them on silent. And then I want us to do something that us youngies do, but I know the older generation do that as well. Let's take out our phones, and these are our hashtags. So we need to get today trending. How many of you are trenders in the room? Yes, thank you. Table number 6 is a trender. If you don't know how to do it, please ask her how to do it. And here are all the hashtags. Please, let's get tonight trending. Let people know what we are doing. Our first hashtag, capital letters, SAIA, hashtag Corobrik SAIA Awards. Hashtag architecture. Second hashtag, architectural excellence. Hashtag built environment. Hashtag design innovation. Hashtag Coverland. They're all written here. You can pick them up on the media boards. And lastly, architecture South Africa. So please, phones out. Oh, I see. You taking a photo of me? Okay. Right, ladies, gentlemen, let's take out our phones and let's do some selfies quickly. Let's break the ice. Let's settle the room. We come from different places. Let's do the selfies. Table number 6, can we start with the selfies? I see you. Thank you. Table number 1, gentleman with the red. I see you. Thank you. Social media, yes, sir. You are tagging us at SAIA. I love it. Stop it. I like it. There you go. 10 more seconds. My CEO, I see you are tagging somebody there. Thank you. You look absolutely gorgeous. Thank you very much. So please do make sure that you are tagging us and following us and using those hashtags. I'm going to start now with the official program. Thank you very much. Okay, I hear a well done at table number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you for indulging me in our social media bit. As we get into the program, we've been invited today by the South African Institute of Architects, SAIA, to this auspicious award ceremony to announce the awarded projects for the 2023-2024 Corobrik SAIA Awards of Merit and for Excellence in partnership with Coverland. SAIA is a recognized voluntary association in terms of the Architectural Profession Act 44 of 2000. The mission of the Institute is to act as a collective voice, serving the interests of its members in pursuit of excellence and responsible design. It aims to uphold the dignity of the architectural profession and as well contribute meaningfully to the enhancement of society and its environment. The program for this evening will be presented in 2 parts, starting with the inauguration of SAIA President, and that is architect Claire Makakska, followed by the presentation of the 2023-2024 Corobrik SAIA Awards of Merit and for Excellence in partnership with Coverland. As the program is lengthy, we'll have a 25-minute interval for us here in the room and those that are watching online in between the program for attendees, at least to stretch their legs, go to the bathrooms, and grab something to eat. So I'm going to start with the beginning of the program, and as I start, I've just met this gorgeous lady. If you could please help me give her a round of applause, our CEO, if she could please come and join us, Miss Jackie Callis.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome tonight. I have a message from our immediate past president, architect Makena Makeka. Unfortunately, has had an emergency and is not able to join us. Oh, okay. Everyone heard me?
Maybe the volume? A little bit of volume, perhaps?
Okay.
Please go.
Can everyone hear me now? Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. On behalf of the South African Institute of Architects, our immediate past president, Makena Makeka, he unfortunately can't make it this evening. He's had an emergency, and unfortunately, he's asked for us, for myself to give his apologies. But thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight, and I'll hand you over to our MC. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for our CEO. Thank you very much, Ms. Jackie Callis. So what we are going to do at this point in time is call up our president. I want to introduce architect Claire Makaska to come onto stage. But as she comes onto stage, I really want to read a beautiful bio. As I was going through it, there's a lot that she's done. She is associated Gap Architects and Urban Designers and known for her empathetic and pragmatic approach to design. Over her 27-year career, she has worked for many leading architectural firms in Gauteng and gained a vast amount of experience in the architectural profession. Claire gradually worked her way up from draftsman in 1997 to SAIA, a registered professional architect, in 2012. She completed a master's degree in architecture professional in 2009 at the Tshwane University of Technology, where she was honored with the Top Student Award for 3 years running. Claire's experience includes a wide range of building typologies, bespoke single residential, high-density residential developments, inner city renewal, developments with heritage, industrial, educational, healthcare, sports and recreational, hospitality, commercial, as well as retail. And her work reflects a very deep understanding of local context, cultural heritage, and environmental considerations. Her designs blend form and function, creating harmonious spaces that resonate with the building's users. She was born in Durban, eThekwini, but raised here in Gauteng, South Africa, and her upbringing in a family where creativity and engineering intersected influenced her career path. Beyond her architectural pursuits, Claire enjoys exploring art, music, and nature, and she believes that creativity knows no boundaries and draws inspiration from diverse sources. And as the president of the South African Institute of Architects and past president of the Pretoria Institute for Architecture, PIA, Claire actively promotes architecture and supports fellow professionals. She's delivered thought-provoking addresses at events, emphasizing the role of architecture in shaping communities and enhancing the very quality of life. She is committed to mentorship and advocacy for women in architecture, underscores her belief in fostering a supportive as well as an inclusive professional community. Her journey is marked by creativity, sustainability, and a genuine passion for making a positive impact on the built environment within South Africa. My president, welcome, good evening, and thank you.
All right, let's try this mic. I think I need a shorter bio. That's all I can say. And I'm going to apologize in advance for actually reading my speech. I have prepared, but my nerves are, yes, rather strained. So I think I'll work my way through it. I'm not the best public speaker, as many of you know, and I hope you will bear with me. I'd like to start the speech. Okay. Again, I'll talk a bit closer. I'd like to start this speech by taking time to appreciate the people who have supported me and believed in me, so that I can stand here as SAIA president today. I'm truly humbled, especially in the knowledge that my nomination was voted on directly by membership, and I appreciate every member that believed in me and voted for me. Although I officially stepped into this role in July, I have been active in both SAIA and PIA for many years. I hesitate to say that I understand the complex nature of the organization we find ourselves in, knowing that the moment I think I know it all, I'm bound to find another curveball. Being willing to stand up and serve as SAIA president and to serve the architectural profession is not for the faint-hearted. I take my hat off to everyone who is willing to serve as president in the past, each with their own unique contribution. I would especially like to thank our immediate past president, McKenna, for his patience and his guidance, sharing his vast knowledge of organizational structures. Without the knowledge you shared, I would not have the tools I need to make positive contribution during my term. And Vice President Crano has also provided such guidance in terms of in this regard. His insights and knowledge, especially on legal issues, is a great benefit to us all. I'd also like to thank...
Do you mind perhaps if I can give you my microphone? Would that work better?
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, and now it's dead. I think I just speak really softly. So let me try this mic, just speaking really loud. Okay, it's easier for me. Right. Okay, where was I? All right. I thanked Crano, the last. All right. I'd also like to thank Maureen, the executive officer at the PIA. Without your encouragement, I simply would not have thought it'd be possible for me to stand here and lead. And lastly, and certainly not least, I'd like to thank my family, to Doug, to Noah, Ben and Samuel, who are not here, and to my parents, Anne and Kevin. I'm blessed beyond words to have a family that loves me truly unconditionally. I stand firm in that love and the truth that it brings to my life. A few years ago, at my grandmother's funeral, my uncle, who officiated the service as minister, spoke of my grandmother's unwavering search for truth in her walk with God. This deeply resonated with me, as I had not till then realized that I too have the same internal struggle with the search for truth. We live in a world where facts can be obscured by an oversupply of information, where opinions masquerade as truth, and where lines between reality and fiction are blurred. In this complex landscape, critical thinking is our most valuable tool. There is something fundamentally sound about the profession of architecture, which clearly resonates with my inner self. Critical thinking asks us to re-evaluate thought and challenge ourselves. A lifelong journey we will never perfect. Sometimes, something I value greatly is to slow down, listen, to hear, really hear, and to learn. And then to act timelessly, with integrity, and on as much information as I have available. I'm not perfect. I'll make mistakes. There will be conflict of opinions. I know there will be because I've already had conflict of opinions. But I'm okay with that because it's who I am. I believe in humanity's ability to do good. I believe in the value of architecture profession in making a profound difference in our country. But I know how it feels to be powerless. I've worked incredibly hard to become an architect, only to at one point sit without work. Architecture is beautiful, but it is also brutal. An entire profession can lose its collective power seemingly overnight. A few moments in conversation with any architect over the age of 70 will teach you that. Regaining that power, in my opinion, is not easy. It's easily lost, not easily regained. The world has changed dramatically. Communities are less cohesive, and much is left to individuals to advocate for themselves. The focus on individuality has in some respects led our society to no longer value community as it did in the past. However, in the last few years, if the last few years have taught us anything, it's that as individuals alone, we are all limited. Even the strongest among us will struggle to stand fast in the face of the world as it is now. As a practicing architect who is deeply involved in the world of architecture on a day-to-day basis, I'm amazed at our resilience, our ability to rise above the noise, and the incredible standard of work we produce under incredibly hard conditions, which we will celebrate later today and see that beautiful work. The success of any voluntary organization rests in collective effort. I'm often confronted with questions on what SAIA is doing for members. But an organization is only a tool. It's a platform for collective engagement to take place. But on its own, it does not have the power to change our profession. There is seemingly limited understanding by membership on how the SAIA structure works and how the regional structures work. SAIA is a bottom-up structure. Members should be empowered to serve on regional committees, who then choose leaders who sit on the SAIA board. The SAIA board has the duty to its membership to ensure that there is value and that it's communicated appropriately. Many of us are strong, resilient individuals. We have become adept at responding to this new world. But have we lost the ability to build community? How can we bring the unique qualities we have as individuals to the SAIA table to support each other so that we can realize an architectural profession that not only survives but thrives in South Africa? The future of SAIA is unprecedented, requiring all our creative, critical thinking skills, which we have an abundance of as architects. There is no one who is an expert. We will all need to learn as we build this institute. However, what I do know is that no community can be cohesive without mutual respect. A common vision and mission for SAIA, and the belief that if you show up and you're present in the space, you have value. I'm certainly not alone in my pursuit to build a stronger SAIA. It is my pleasure to introduce the new management committee team for the next year. We are all here to serve, and please feel free to talk to us during the evening. Can the office bearers come up to the podium when I call your name, so that everyone here can meet you? So we have Vice President Architect Crano now. Treasurer Nick Mallandane. And Deputy Treasurer Architect Jeremy Malan. Thank you. I could not have asked for a more capable management committee, as you can see. Yeah. And I look forward to working with them in the coming months, and I believe that we will make a difference and we will turn SAIA around, and the legacy that we leave will have a great impact on this community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. As they take photos, ladies and gentlemen, please give our president a huge round of applause. Yes. As they're taking photos, I was just making mental notes. Fantastic nuggets. We learn as we grow, and we can only build with respect as we do that. So as she journeys with her team, let's support her, and I wish you the very best as we all wish her. Please, another round of applause. Thank you. Next, I'd like to call upon stage Dr. Jennifer Mirembe, SACAP Council member, who is to share a message of congratulations on behalf of SACAP President, Architect Nsindiso Charles Ndugu, and Council to SAIA President, Architect Claire Makaska. Thank you, and a round of applause.
I note the mic is not working. I note the mic is not working. So, okay. No, really. The mic, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new president. Let's give her an applause, Ma'am Claire. Let's make it louder. No, that's not good enough. Let's make a noise. We got a president. Come on. No, man, we're not making it count. We got a president. She's a lady, established based on merit. Let's give her an applause. Colleagues online, let's do our thing. Yes, thanks. Chairperson, the mic works. I was mic testing. Okay, on behalf of the president of SACAP, President Charles Nduku, Vice President Mamtsabi, Registrar Advocate Fiduli, the rest of SACAP Council, I wish to represent us and just present a congratulatory message to President Makaska. Congratulations once again. President, you're coming in at a time when it's real revival in South Africa. And guess what? Our architectural profession has not disappointed. I am a regular follower on social media of all our VAs, and very interesting to see different VAs coming up with energy and fire to change this nation. If you look at what Bodake is doing in the next few weeks, the whole proposal for human settlements reprogramming in Bodake, well done. If you look at Free State, one of our leaders there coming up with a big vision of 800,000 homes by 2025, returning dignity to our people. Looking at Gauteng Institute for Architecture, looking at a bigger vision to clean out unemployment in this nation, and many more, because I've been given 1 minute. President, our profession is not disappointing. So, President, if we look at case studies of other presidents who came in terms of revival, no better place than to look at history in America. If you look at Franklin Roosevelt, who came in 1933, in the Great Depression president, you'll see that he came in with New Deal of programs and reforms, notwithstanding our own president, past president Nelson Mandela, who came in during a time of transition in terms of bringing in a multiracial democracy. If you look at Russia, what Mikhail Gorbachev came in a time of Great Depression, he also came in with a new vision and energy and fire, really demonstrated in your own speech, President McCasker, sorry. I wish the mic went off there. I wanted to hear not working. So, if we look at a leader that came in at a moment of social revival, one of my favorites, Martin Luther King. And what did he say? I liked your speech when you referenced to God. Now, this is what Martin Luther said. He said, whatever you do, do it as though God Almighty called you in this moment to make a change in history. And man, President McCasker, we're expecting nothing but that. He goes on to say in his speech of Blueprint, he says, whatever you do, do such a great job that the living, as you can see, the living and the dead and the unborn, no other president of SAIA will ever do a better job than you will do in your term. Once again, President McCasker, we really, on behalf of SAICAP, we honor you. We wish you prosperity, victory, and nothing less than a good story to change not just the architectural profession, but South Africa, to leave it in a better place than you found it in your term of office. President McCasker, we now hand you just a card from us to wish you the best and moments of lots of love and support from SAICAP. Thank you. Thank you so much. And the mic works.
Thank you, Dr. Jennifer. The mic works. Please give her a round of applause. Right. Thank you very much. Your words, very powerful, very, I sat there, Doctor, and I was saying, amen. You've just preached right there, whole sermon. Thank you so, so much. The long-awaited SAIA journal, previously known as ArcSA, now renamed Architectures, with a silent A at the end, was recently launched in September at a very successful sold-out event at Keys Art Mile here in Rosebank. So I'd like to introduce somebody right now. We phoned her, and I said, how do I pronounce your surname? She said, we'll do it in 3 parts, Nomalanga. So, who am I talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to call up architect Angela Vuyukli, and she's the founder of CPD Central, to tell us a bit about the relaunch of the journal. And as she comes up, please give her a round of applause. I hope I pronounced your surname correctly, because I see the smile. I'm trying. Woo! Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. How's everyone doing? It's so good to be here. It's so good to see you. It's so good to be part of this event. Claire, I thought your speech was great. It was honest, and it was you, and that's the best you can bring. So, yeah, I'm really excited for your term, and I wish you all the best with your term. I think you've got a great team, too. Yeah, so it's a pleasure to speak to you today. Today, I speak to you on behalf of as the publisher of the Architectures Journal. It was actually more of a resurrection than a relaunch, and it was really amazing to be a part of this journal, and I felt incredibly privileged to be a part of it. And I speak tonight on behalf of myself, but also on behalf of Dr. Sichaba Mape, the editor, who was really just incredibly instrumental in making sure that this thing came together and making sure that the content was really superb. So I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity to share, Jackie. And Claire as well. I really appreciate just being able to give me some time to share a little bit about it. Yeah, so the journal, we kind of fully transitioned into this digital space of the journal, where we're looking at continuously layering the journal so that it comes up to speed with where our other journals are and where the other magazines are in terms of our South African space. And also internationally, we're looking to see if we can compete on an international level in terms of accessibility of the journal, but not only accessibility, but also interaction of the journal, where it becomes something that's more of a digital footprint, something that engages in a digital playground. And so we're constantly looking at layering the journal to see if we can implement, YouTube clips and audio and kind of moving parts and kind of more depth, where you click on an image and it can open up a whole lot more than just what's on your page. And so it was really exciting to be a part of that kind of process of looking to see what more can this journal be, building on what it was before, and how do we build it to become more than what it was before and even better. I'm proud to announce that the journal is accredited for CPD credits, which is quite nice, which means that we can read the journal and we can get our Category 3B certificate. And that accreditation really aligns with the mission that SAIA has to continually provide value to the architectural community, not only to architectural community, but specifically to SAIA members. And it's wonderful that they've also made the journal free for all SAIA members. So if you haven't requested your free coupon yet, you're welcome to talk to me about it, or you can email us. And the journal is available on CPD Central's portal on the homepage. So if you just scroll down, you'll be able to see it there and access it. Nomalanga touched a little bit on our recent launch at Keys Art Mile, and it really was a great success. It was completely sold out, jam-packed, and we had the whole art fair kind of join us, it added a little bit of a mix, but it was really just wonderful. And I just want to take a moment to just thank Dr. Sechaba Mape for the outstanding work that he did at that evening, and also just for putting together a great environment where we could come in and see how architecture talks in different ways as well. I would also like to thank Safal Steele, who came in as a collaborator to that event, and they really helped us to make it an evening that was really awesome. I'm excited to let you know that we are hard at work at edition 102. So this was edition 101, and we are hard at work with edition 102, which will be launched in December. And we are very excited to kind of add value to the discipline of architecture through the journal, and how it's starting to evolve into something that is, beyond the boundary lines of the building. We're especially thrilled to let you know that we will be featuring the winners of the Corobrik SAIA Awards in that issue. And just looking forward to being able to put on a platform this incredible architecture that we're able to achieve in South Africa. And I, for one, am completely convinced that we, as South African architects, compete on such an international level. I've been privileged to do quite a lot of traveling myself. And honestly, if it was up to me to put South Africa on the kind of international spotlight that everyone could see this amazing work that we're doing, then I would do it. And so it's very exciting that we get an opportunity to feature these beautiful buildings, these beautiful award-winning buildings inside this journal. Yeah, we look forward to really continuing to deliver quality content in the journal. Many collaborators have come in to make it happen. And we look forward to also growing our capacity and how we cause the journal to have a larger footprint than what it previously had. And we build on the shoulders of many who have built this journal over many years. And so it's wonderful to be able to springboard off of something else that has been built, which has a kind of long history and legacy of 100 issues that have been put out before this journal. I'd like to just say a special thank you for the support that we experienced in going through this journal. Funny enough, Dr. Sechaba and Mapa we were in first year together, and him and I were kind of the first friends we had in architecture. And then we each went our separate ways, and now we found ourselves paired in this amazing adventure. And so it's an interesting how our community, as Claire mentioned, is actually very compact and small. And we end up bumping into these people that we when we knew nothing about architecture, we were friends first, And so, I look forward to this journal also becoming something that represents community as well. And lastly, I just want to say thank you to Jackie and Claire for supporting us in this journal. It was a massive learning curve. Thank you for your support. And thank you to everybody who has also purchased the journal, read the journal, and given us feedback about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, architect. Here's one thing I appreciate about you. As you speak about the journal, there's such passion about it. And don't forget, as mentioned by Architecture Angela, that the journal is a member benefit and a free digital copy that you can get on www.cpdcentral.co.za. And we look forward to edition 102. Yes, please give them a round of applause. So the next bit of the program, a little bit lengthy, you'll hear my voice for a little bit, but I do humbly ask you for your ears. We've come to the second part of the program, which is the much anticipated announcement of the 2023-2024 Corobrik SAIA Awards of Merit and for Excellence, which are held for the first time in partnership with Coverland. The SAIA Awards are an important event in the South African architectural calendar, and the awards program recognizes and promotes excellence in architecture and creates public awareness and much needed debate around the discourse of architectural issues. During this award cycle, SAIA received 64 Category A building project submissions and 4 research or work of social importance projects, bringing that to a total of 68 architectural projects which were entered into the National Awards Program. On the event program, you find a QR code to scan and view all the project submissions at your leisure. Exceptional world-class design work by our very own South African architects. Back to Architecture Angela saying she wishes she could just show the world what South Africa is made of. These project submissions were recently showcased in the Gelman Gallery in New York during Climate Week at a pop-up exhibit called Cross Boundaries, and this was led by SAIA's immediate past president and this awards convener, Architecture Mokena Makeka, and Kimberly Dowdell, the 2024 president of the American Institute of Architects. The awards program is structured over 2 years and is conducted in 2 stages. I want to go through those stages in this manner. Stage 1 sees the regional awards for architecture presented by the 9 regional institutes affiliated to SAIA. The following year, in stage 2, the awarded regional projects get entered into the National Awards Program, involving a rigorous adjudication process in which each project submitted is critically assessed, followed by a short listing for in-local inspections and a selection of the final projects to be awarded. This process precedes the announcement of the awarded projects. And during the awards program, the appointed adjudicators ensure that a fair process is followed and the quality of projects and integrity of the awards program is highly upheld. I'd like to go through the role of our adjudicators. Number 1, to go through all the projects submitted to the National Awards Program. Secondly, through a non-prejudice but fair adjudication process, adjudicators are to select these projects to be visited for further consideration from the entry material submitted. Number 3, the national panel of adjudicators are to decide on the final projects to be awarded, and then the recipients will be notified as appropriate. And lastly, number 4, the adjudicators reserve the right to award or not award a project based on the discretion of the award adjudication panel. This evening, we will all find out which building, research, and or work of social importance has received a commendation, an award of merit, and or an award of excellence. And the awards for excellence recognizes exceptional achievement in the field of architecture. Let us hear what the awards convener had to say about this year's awards process. Thank you.
My name is Mukena Makeka. I am an architect and an urban planner and a very passionate advocate for climate smart cities. I am the convener of the adjudication panel for this cycle of the Corobrik and Coverland awards. As the convener, I bring together a number of esteemed people in the industry to come together and to review architectural projects and submissions, including academic work, and to determine to what extent are they deserving of national recognition, and does that recognition advance the production of architecture in a way that we can be globally proud. This cycle of the awards was complex because a lot of the projects were impacted by COVID, either due to the impact on the construction phasing, the design phasing, or from a cost perspective. So in many ways, we're seeing a re-emergence, if you will, of architectural production in a post-COVID economic environment. Another distinction with this particular cycle, I would argue, is the lack of public projects of great depth and diversity, and also a lack of diversity in terms of the participants themselves. I would love to see more participants of color. I'd love to see more women engaged. I'd love to see more young architects taking charge. And I think that is a comment, if you will, on the state of the industry, the difficulty for minority architects to have as deep an impact, but also a signal that we require much greater patronage and clients who are willing to invest in other voices in the production of architecture. What stood out for me in this adjudication process was perhaps not so much the architecture, but I would say my team, the adjudicators themselves. It was quite important to curate a cohort, if you will, of people who were genuinely interested in not only the success of the project, but also the care, if you will, and the role of the architect in the production of this architecture, but also that they brought their values to the table, but they didn't bring their biases. I think this is quite an important thing for me and an important part of the process, and it's something that stood out for me, and I've judged in many other processes where sometimes the bias of the judges overrides their ability to objectively look at the architectural work and say whether it is good or bad. So I think what stood out for me was an exceptionally mature and collegiate team of thinkers and people who are passionate about the production of architecture. I think architects need to do a number of things in order to do their work well. One is to understand that meeting the brief is not enough, and that in fact a good architect transcends the brief and transforms building into architecture. So that is something which we can all do better, and many of the submissions did do, but we can all do that a bit better. The second piece is that architects are a driver of knowledge in the built environment. So where we detail buildings, the challenges that we put forward can have a huge implication for how skills are increased in the industry. So I do look for buildings which are producing knowledge, not just producing shapes and putting things together, whether it's in the brickwork, whether it's in the roof coverings, whether it's in the way that a door hangs. So how do architects produce knowledge through the act of making architecture? The third piece, which I think is important, is the ways and means by which we take sustainability much more seriously. Some might argue that sustainability is merely about meeting some of the code qualifications when it comes to HVAC or glazing, etc. But I do think we need to think much more seriously about where do the materials come from that we specify when we make these buildings, the politics of the material. Are the communities affected by the sourcing of these materials or the way that buildings are actually built? We have to get to a point where we continuously raise the bar about how the act of making architecture is in fact a social and economic process. And when we understand it as an economic process with socio-political implications, we start to build differently. So I think one thing that we can all do better as architects is to be more aware and conscious of the implications of the design and not just the design in and of itself. My core message to all the architects who submitted their works is keep at it. Congratulations. The work that you have done has been thrilling to see. It's an incredible reflection of the state of the country, and it's an incredible contribution towards the future of this nation. I would urge all of you to continue to ask yourselves, to what degree is this building making the world a better place? To what degree does this particular project advance my own understanding of architecture? And indeed, does it become an educational tool for society? To what degree does the architecture allow me to imagine future and better works for myself? Am I inspiring myself through the production of these particular works? And last but not least, I did speak about architecture making the world a better place. But I do think that joy and beauty is an incredible and vital aspect of architecture. All too often, it is quite easy for architects to not talk about their building in terms of beauty, because that might be seen to be subjective or irrelevant. The reality is that we are the only discipline in the built environment that is trained in the aesthetics and the technical and the poetic properties of architecture. So if we do not take care of beauty, who shall? So I encourage all of us to not just merely meet the brief and to say it was cost efficient, etc., but to seize beauty as a duty of the architect, particularly in a country such as ours, with its vast and deep histories of inequality, pain, and the spatialization of inequality. It is up to our generation and future generations to make South Africa a beautiful place that is in communion with nature and with people.
Thank you very much. A round of applause. I take out from here a hashtag that says, duty is beauty and beauty is duty. Let's continue to showcase the beautifulness and the joy that people get to feel, see, hug our buildings, if ever at all. Another round of applause to architect Mokena in his absence. Can I see by a show of hands, anybody in the 90s, 93 nyana? Anybody in the room? Oh, okay. Did you know that SAIA awarded its first award of merit in 1931, 93 years ago? Another fun fact is that Corobrik has been a sponsor of the National Awards Program for over 30 years. It's part of also South Africa, part of 30 years post-democracy. A round of applause. And is also a patron of the South African Institute of Architects. SAIA values its partnership with Corobrik as the success of the awards program is due to the continuous support given by Corobrik to SAIA. Again, a round of applause. Oh, yes, sir. In saying that, I wish to call up our Corobrik Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Nick Booth, to give a few words from our sponsor. And as he comes up, the gentleman with a smile from heaven. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I know I'm supposed to stand up here and do the commercial thing and sell you guys bricks. I'm not going to. It's that simple. For a very simple reason. I think your president, Claire, a lot of the words you said in your speech resonated with me. And let me try and give some background to that. At Corobrik, for those of you who don't know, I joined Corobrik in 1980 and left them for a long period. And I was recruited back into Corobrik in 2017 because there was a belief that we needed change. There was a belief that Corobrik, for all the 120 years we've been around, was on a single track. And I had the privilege of being in San Francisco earlier this year, and obviously rode the streetcar and was on rails up and down the hill, and there's just a cable, it's really a cable car, and a brake. And I had the privilege of climbing into the next generation, which is no longer an Uber, it's a driverless car. And you go from an understanding of where we were and what our background is as our generation, and I'm talking my generation, of streetcars on rails going in one direction, up and down hills, consistently in one direction, no change, to a technology where you're driven around by nobody in the driver's seat. And that change is scary. And my colleagues who I shared this experience with and shared videos with said, weren't you afraid? And yes, I suppose I'm supposed to be afraid. No, I wasn't afraid, because I think we have to embrace the change. We have to embrace that the world we're operating in, the environment we're operating in, has changed. And what makes Corobrik relevant and what makes SAIA relevant going forward, I think, is what Claire is trying to get across to us. And I fully support what you're saying. I think the organizations like SAIA are important. That's why we're partners. That's not why we just blindly donate or sponsor things. We believe in the partnership. We believe that SAIA has a role going forward in South Africa. We believe that, and what you said is so important, the members are what drives SAIA. SAIA doesn't drive the members. The members have to be driving SAIA. But SAIA has to provide passionate and competent leadership. There's no doubt about that. So I want to back you. Honestly, what you said was so relevant to me in terms of Corobrik and a number of the organizations we're associated with, that if we don't make the change, and we're not talking the political change, we're not talking the window dressing, we're talking genuine understanding of what is our organization going to look in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, 20 years' time, and serve the needs of the profession. What I will say to you, Claire, with the words you said there, Corobrik is with you. We're there. As long as I'm the CEO, which is for another couple of years, we're on board. Because what you said is important to your profession, but it's important to the built environment, it's important to the construction industry of South Africa. And if we can just deliver a little bit over the next few years between us, in terms of what you were talking about, we're on board with you. And I want to wish you all of the best and all of the luck that you're going to need. But again, my office is there, I am there. If you want to come and talk, if you want any kind of input from our side, we're more than willing to make it. Good luck. Thank you, everybody.
Corobrik is proud to be a patron of the South African Institute of Architects Awards. Over the years, we have seen continuous improvement in the quality of submissions, and this year was no exception. The Corobrik SAIA Awards are all about building our local industry and designing tomorrow's skyline. For Corobrik itself, it has been a years-long journey of inspiration, creativity, and innovation. We support the architectural profession because we believe that great architects add creative genius to South Africa's built environment. At its roots, architecture exists to create physical environment in which people live. But architecture is more than just built environment. It's also part of our culture. It stands as a representation of how we see ourselves as well as how we see the world. During this adjudication process, it was also observed that some of these buildings help to trigger the economic development directly and indirectly towards its society through tourism, unemployment, surrounding development because of construction, thus attracting other area of business. As Corobrik, we will continue to invest in South Africa and continue to significantly contribute to the infrastructure our country so desperately needs.
Thank you very much. Can we please give a round of applause to Nick Booth? I feel the passion, same passion I get from Ms. Karabo, and thank you once again for just saying to our president, we are with you every step of the way. And we look forward to many more incredible events and programs and partnership like these. A round of applause, please. Next up, I wish to call Mr. Devalt Nokia, Managing Director of Coverland. This is the first time that Coverland is participating in the awards program, and they are sponsoring a sub-award within the Awards of Merit and for Excellence, which recognizes architectural building projects that have used concrete roof tiles to enhance the architectural design. Ms. Nokia, good evening. Thank you.
So it's interesting evening, everyone. You know, I had this whole sort of speech planned for today in terms of what I wanted to say, and then I had this thing about one of the documents we saw said message from the sponsor. And as you think about message from the sponsor, you feel like you're the ad break. Like when you're watching your favorite TV show and here comes the ad break, and that's us being the sponsor. But I think what stood out for me, and I'm going to go off my own script here a little bit and just talk a bit, but I think what came out to me today was really the passion that's in this room. And it's something that we share specifically within the roofing space. I mean, Corobrik's been doing this now for over 30 years. We went from 0 to number 1. So it's a start. And I want to thank the Coverland team, especially Willem, with the support and bringing this thing to life from a supplier's point of view. We've got lots to offer, that's for sure. But I want to come back to a quote from Peter Drucker. And he says the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I think sometimes we get so busy within the space that we in South Africa that we sometimes forget the level of power and influence that we have within our own communities. We're very proud with the Roofing Academy that we established a couple of years ago now, and it's aimed at building skill sets within communities, whether it's recognition of prior learning or whether it's taking roofers in communities and giving them a formal qualification. Where would you see that? And that's something that we as an industry leader on our side really believe in can make a difference. When we talk about unemployment, we talk about inequalities in the country, these are aspects that we can really get involved in. We're not a massive organization, but can we make our difference in our little piece where we actually play a part in? Yes, we're going to try to. We've got the connection from a European point of view, so our parent company is in the US as well. And when we talk about concepts like sustainability especially, I agree what was on the screen earlier to say that we've got so much more to do around sustainability. Sustainability becomes this tick box exercise where we go like, are we meeting our values? Are we doing this? Are we doing that? But we're losing a bit of the intention behind what we want to achieve with sustainability. And what we are creating in this room is really the architecture of the future. All the buildings that we are designing, providing roofing for, is probably going to outlive us if we've done it well enough. And I think that is the key message for me, is to say that when we think about the future going forward, we are playing a role in creating that for the generations to come after us. The same way everything around us has been built by generations before us. And we've got a responsibility, and I think the partnership that we're seeing here this evening, that's what makes this so special. An organization, Claire, like they mentioned, it's not just about the leadership at the top, but it's how strong it's built up from a foundational level. And if people really believe in the vision and the leadership team, you can achieve anything. So to all the nominees and the award winners this evening, congratulations. Keep up the amazing work that you are doing within this space. I think it's a great opportunity to celebrate the work that's being done in this room. We're a bit new to it, no doubt, but I think there's so much more potential in here that's really going to grow every year. Last comment then, just special thanks to SAIA and Corobrik for us partnering with you guys. I believe it's the first of many. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Willem Grove, representing Coverland as sponsor. At Coverland, we believe in building new horizons. For this reason, we have partnered with the South African Institute of Architects to sponsor the first ever Concrete Roof Tile Award for Excellence as part of the Corobrik SAIA Awards. The award aims to reward projects that show exceptional application of concrete roof tiles in aspects such as aesthetics and creativity. Although entries this year were limited, there was still some exceptional work submitted showing creative use of the product. We look forward to sending the winning architect to the World Architecture Festival in Singapore at the end of the year. With this award, we are challenging architects to use concrete roof tiles in creative ways and to challenge us as manufacturers for innovative solutions. As Coverland, we are committed to grow our involvement with SAIA and inspire new horizons using concrete roof tiles.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please give a round of applause to Devalt Nokia for Coverland and for sponsoring this award. I love that smile, that Sensodyne Aquafresh all smile in one that says we are doing this together with you as a team and our president. Thank you so much. A round of applause to him once again. As we move swiftly in our program, I'm hoping those that are watching on YouTube, you are feeling the love. We are having a fantastic evening. And now I'd like to call upon a gorgeous lady. I met her this afternoon. We talked about our heights, and I stood next to her and I stood like this. Who am I talking about? The ever gorgeous architecture Adima Davis to come and join me for the presentation of projects that have received
I'm Willem Grove.
commendation. Can we just stand together because she's decided she's going to be slightly higher than me? Thank you.
Okay, I need to do the check. Working okay? Fab. Thank you, Nomalanga. And good evening, everybody. And thank you, Claire, and everybody for your wonderful words. For those of you who aren't in the room with us, we most certainly are feeling the love of being a part of a community. And I look forward to that growing. So, from the submissions received, our initial task as adjudication panel was to go through all the projects in order to shortlist those projects for in loco inspection. Here, a listing of 36 Category A, built projects, and Category B, research or projects of social importance, 4 of those, were selected. Let us take a look at the 9 projects recognized by us as your adjudication panel for their contributions to architecture within the regions. Tough call, right? Further to this, our task was to award the submitted projects reviewed through a criteria that might be familiar to some of you: firmness, commodity, and delight, in 3 categories of award. A commendation is conferred by the South African Institute of Architects for a commendable achievement in architecture. An award of merit is conferred by the South African Institute of Architects for a praiseworthy achievement in architecture. And lastly, an award for excellence, is conferred by the South African Institute of Architects for an exceptional achievement in architecture.
Thank you very much, Adima. Up next, I'd like to call Mr. Willem Grove from Coverland to assist with handing over of the certificates. Please, as he comes up, please give him a round of applause. Here's the one thing I love about the gentlemen in the room. They got the memo right. They're looking spliffy. They're smiling. They're like, yeah, this is, look at you. Thank you so much, Willem. So now we're going to start in terms of handing over the certificates. And I'd like to call up first, the first commendation is presented to Additions to Calling Academy, Stellenbosch by SALT Architects.
Additions to Calling Academy Stellenbosch by SALT Architects. The project is exemplary in creating spatial richness with limited means. the architectural articulation of pliable indoor and outdoor spaces, undulating roof volumes, and the innovative use of a restricted palette of raw materials creates a sense of generosity and resourcefulness, enriching the learning environment to contribute to the Academy's commitment to deliver excellent education in an inspiring setting.
A commendation is presented to Amani by Felt Architects.
Amani by Felt Architects. This unique house for twins at Monaghan Farm seamlessly integrates with its natural surroundings, embodying an organic architecture that harmoniously flows from the landscape. The connection to the earth is artfully emphasized through the incorporation of water features and strategically positioned windows that frame spectacular views. The design cleverly captures the distinct personalities of the two cohabitants, manifesting in a thoughtful interplay of materials and spatial arrangements. Each dwelling exudes its unique character, fostering a sense of individuality within the shared space.
A round of applause. Thank you. The third commendation is presented to Bella Bella Farmhouse by JVR Architects and Interior.
Bella Bella Farmhouse by JVR Architects and Interiors. The project is defined by how well the interior, exterior spatial hierarchies and relationships were resolved, and the meticulous attention for detailing, finishes, and structure on all scales. The use of natural light and incorporation of existing trees through the glass gables and use of courtyards contributes to a delightful ambience. The play between traditional farmhouse references and the modern implementation of layout and material is mature.
A commendation is conferred on Dune House by KLG Architects. Unfortunately, KLG Architects could not join us this evening, but we celebrate them in their absence. Congratulations.
Dune House by KLG Architects. The house sits between the ocean and a slopy dune on gumpole posts to allow a continued flow of windswept sand on the dune from below. The house welcomes you in from the street with an elevated arm stretched out toward the street on a gabion wall anchor point. The space between the main house and the guest pod creates a courtyard space that is protected from harsh wind and almost creates a play of an open or closed room, creating an organic use of the contrasting spaces. The staggered plan strategically allows for function and environmental response, and for one to enjoy the views from a protected point of view. The profile of the roof allows for continued interaction between the new house and its landscape and prevailing winds. The sensitive response to the external conditions was beautifully replicated internally by offering undisturbed views of both the mountains and sea.
A round of applause. The fifth commendation is presented to the Faculty of Commerce, Law and Management Administration by MMA Design Studio. Are they here?
Faculty of Commerce, Law and Management Administration Building by MMA Design Studio. The building marries historical reverence with contemporary functionality. Paying homage to the site's rich history, the design seamlessly transitions from the intricate filigree architecture of the past to the sleek modernism of the Tower of Light. The internal detailing, such as timber acoustic cladding and balustrading, echoes this transition, creating a cohesive aesthetic. Beyond aesthetics, the building showcases a commitment to sustainability. Functionally, the building's layout is commendable, The design fosters collaboration, unity, and a sense of community among the faculty. In essence, this building stands as a testament to architectural finesse, historical consciousness, and sustainable design principles.
Not moving too far away, our next commendation is awarded to the Faculty of Science, Bio-Phi Precinct Postgraduate Center by Kate Otten Architects.
Faculty of Science, Bio-Phi Precinct Postgraduate Center by Kate Otten Architects. The underutilized space below the gatehouse at the southernmost entrance to the Wits campus has been cleverly converted into 2 levels of additional classes. These 2 new floors effectively create a new gateway to the university, providing a more humane facade to an otherwise brutalist structure. The new addition utilizes carefully patterned red face brick in contrast to the existing off-shutter concrete facade of the existing building. Further softening occurs within the envelope of the new classrooms, where wood paneling has been strategically utilized. The project is indeed a gatehouse. The connection between the entrance and all other spaces is very creative.
Thank you very much. Our 7th commendation is presented to House Bellamy by Gotsman Architects.
House Bellamy by Gotsman Architects. The structural simplicity of the design resonates with the principles of minimalism, emphasizing clean lines and a sense of openness. The materiality of the concrete, while pragmatic, introduces a tactile dimension, inviting inhabitants to engage with the built environment. The carefully considered proportion and the seamless integration of elements create a harmonious balance, fostering an overall sense of serenity within this modern family sanctuary. The architectural finesse lies in the thoughtful interplay of form and function, where every element serves a purpose without sacrificing the overall aesthetic coherence.
It's always a delight for a KZN award from a KZN girl. Our next commendation is awarded to the Nelson Mandela Cruise Terminal by Alpic Prume Architecture.
Nelson Mandela Cruise Terminal by Alpic Prume Architecture. This formerly evocative building with crustaceous exterior is actually a shed for accommodating passengers of cruise ships who characteristically embark or disembark in mass and overlook the roof, which therefore warranted artistic attention. Besides, as this passenger traffic is seasonal, the large interior volumes had to be flexible to accommodate functions for large audiences. The sculptural response to the site involved the design of a ventilated facade, folded and cantilevered, to shield the large expanse of glazing, both for daylighting the interior and for visual contact with the surrounds. The jury acknowledges the landmark value of the building, the technological advances of structure and cladding within the extreme exposure to sea air, and the generosity of interior and exterior spaces within the tightly defined wharf site.
Our next commendation, the new replacement school, Willows Primary School by Neil Franks Architecture. Unfortunately, Neil Franks couldn't be with us this evening, but we congratulate him in his absence.
Right, we are on the... Okay, the video's playing. Thank you.
Nelson Mandela University Ocean Sciences Campus Extensions
Okay,
by SBA International. The building is
All right, if we can
conceptualized
just
as a
hold
large
it, gentlemen.
veranda connecting an old adjacent building with
Sorry,
a new
gentlemen,
addition,
can we hold it?
articulated as a triple volume, multi-layered.
Right, so we're going to go into number 33, and that is the 11th commendation presented. Okay,
Apologies, technical glitches.
technical glitches. Okay, we've had a bit of a change in program, so we've got like 2 programs.
But we're together now.
We're together now, right? Okay, so you want us to go to
31.
Nelson Mandela University Ocean Sciences Campus Extensions by SVA International. Thank you.
Nelson Mandela Cruise Terminal by Alfik Prum Architecture. This formerly evocative building with crustaceous exterior is actually a shed for accommodating
with us,
passengers of
ladies
cruise
and
ships
gentlemen.
who characteristically embark or disembark in mass and overlook the roof, which
It's a good
therefore warranted
opportunity for
artistic
EPA
attention.
and for Greg. You know.
Besides,
Yeah, it wasn't intentionally done because it's a KZN project. and
Right. Okay, so can you and I be on the same page?
We're together. We're together. Yeah, that one's done.
Okay, cool.
Nelson Mandela University Ocean Sciences Campus Extensions by SVA International. The building is conceptualized as a large veranda connecting an old adjacent building with a new addition, articulated as a triple volume, multi-layered space which links the main circulation space with more private spaces within. The contemporary view is that science and research is a public event and that it should be open to social oversight and interaction, specifically at universities. This project is characterized by its effort to create such social interaction, as well as displaying the functions housed within the building. It invites the human hand to touch and the human eye to really look and observe.
Right, so we are going, I know we've done Neil Franks already, just double checking, gentlemen. Yes? We are going to go into the 11th commendation, which is presented to Park House by W Design Architecture Studio.
New Replacement School, Willows Primary School, Cape Town for the Western.
Park House by W Design Architecture Studio. A beautifully landscaped garden flowing down a north-facing slope to a public park on of the valley floor provides a setting that requires a delicate and sensitive approach to the design of the house. Spatial composition, contextual response, and material selection have been beautifully integrated. Scale and proportion are just right, and the relationship between inside and outside is superbly handled. The project derives its merit from both the visual delight and the lived experience it offers the house. Once entered, it is a pleasure to be in, and an environment one is reluctant to leave.
All creases sufficiently ironed out. Yes, ma'am. Our next commendation is awarded to the Radisson Red by DHK Architects.
Radisson Red Hotel by DHK Architects. The use of face break detailing is particularly noteworthy. adding a touch of warmth and character to the building facade. The varying responses to different streetscapes showcase a thoughtful approach to urban integration, ensuring the hotel harmonizes with its surroundings. The public spaces within the hotel, including the generous reception area, conference facilities, meeting rooms, and a rooftop terrace with spectacular views, contribute to a welcoming and generous atmosphere. These spaces cater to the needs of discerning guests and travelers, fulfilling the brief admirably.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Up next, the 13th commendation is presented to Restoration of Beit Midrash Morasha Synagogue by Metropolis.
Restoration of Beit Midrash Morasha Synagogue in Arthur's Road by Metropolis. The Beit Midrash Morasha Synagogue was severely damaged by fire in 2018. From the loss of collective memory, the work of rebuilding has evolved through focused community engagement to bridge the divide between faithful reconstruction and a significant aesthetic and functional shift. The primary move to de-emphasize the cruciform plan of the original 1925 Dutch Reformed Church by inserting an octagonal roof introduces more specific Jewish symbolism into the synagogue. The strategy of preserving and maintaining the original exterior and interior envelopes and period details, whilst adding new isolated contemporary design elements, engage in a spatial discourse with the remaining original fabric and has resulted in an excellent example of conservation and recycling. The architects have negotiated and embraced the combined challenges of fulfilling the Jewish regulatory requirements, a community's affection for the original building, and a reassessment of the building's functionality, and more secular controls of heritage committees and municipal restrictions.
As they are not here in their absence, please give them a round of applause and we'll courier their certificate to them.
Our 14th commendation is presented to the Solplaik University Humanities and Heritage Studies Building by MMA Design Studio.
Solplaik University Humanities and Heritage Studies Building by MMA Design Studio. The main entrance into the building leads you to a landscaped courtyard, which acts as a central point of orientation. The articulated facades of different layers and textures soften their height from this vantage point. Material language pairs robust concrete elements with softer painted walls, all on the overall canvases of the face brick. Given the grey base, the bulk of the building seems afloat in its primary brick material. Sensible planning is applied in large spaces and smaller seating pockets which occur in between.
Our 15th commendation is presented to the Yards by Hubo Architects. If they could come up, please.
The Yards by Hubo Studio. The design of the yards challenges traditional educational norms by seamlessly blending classrooms with vibrant external spaces, creating a dynamic and interactive learning environment. The architectural vision goes beyond mere aesthetics. It transforms each square meter into a catalyst for learning. By erasing the boundaries between the garden and the classroom, the design establishes a harmonious space where students can explore, collaborate, and engage in a dialogue with their natural surroundings.
And last, but most certainly not least, our final commendation is conferred for a research project, and this is presented to the rescue restoration of the historic town centre Wuppertal by TV3 architects and town planners. Unfortunately, TV3 couldn't be here with us this evening, but we celebrate them in their absence, and SAIA congratulates them. The Rescue Restoration of the Historic Town Centre of Wuppertal by TV3 Architects and Town Planners. At the time, this disaster was regarded as the worst disaster to build heritage since the Tulbagh earthquake in 1969. The quick action of the various organizations and people saved a whole community and preserved an invaluable heritage treasure for future generations. The challenges faced were enormous, from the social and financial impact on the community, the quest for funding, protection of the remaining heritage fabric, complicated negotiations to fast-track the various approval processes, the fact that most of the title deeds and building plans had been destroyed in the fire, difficult access to Wuppertal and well over 300 punctures, the use of lime as an alternative to cement, and the fact that it hardens more slowly in winter, electricity cuts, poor cell phone reception, summer temperatures of up to 50 degrees Celsius, and then to top it all, COVID-19. At the end, however, the building project was completed with a high degree of success, and a visible footprint of our cultural heritage was restored.
I think every single one who received a commendation deserves a huge round of applause, whether present in the room or absent. And congratulations. Keep doing joy. Keep doing beautiful. That's exactly what Mogena said. And I want to say thank you very much to my co-presenters, Adima Davis and Willem Grove, for their assistance. And thank you with the technical. I think I'm the one, but thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you. Thank you. Right. We are now going to take a short 25-minute interval to stretch our legs and get something to eat. I know outside everything has a label, so you'll know exactly. The team from the hotel is also here to assist us. And please watch a reflection video by one of the adjudicators, and then we can break thereafter.
I am Adima Davis, architect and academic. I had the privilege of serving as architect with academic experience on this year's Awards of Excellence jury with my esteemed colleagues. The role of juror has been an absolute dream, getting to travel around our beautiful South Africa and experience the diverse wealth of architectural offerings from our colleagues across it. How blessed we are as architects to have the diversity and opportunity of this land as backdrop in the construction of our country's future through built form and provocative thought. As an active academic, my research and inquiry centers around a fundamental knowing of land as an accumulation, of our collective making of both this earth and elsewhere, the temporality of our time here, and the trace that we will leave. How considered, then, our touch must be. This year, we received submissions from across the board: residential, healthcare, commercial, industrial, educational, and research projects, each bringing with them meaningful engagement, rich discussion, and often rigorous debate as we, the jury, were asked to reassess our own perspectives and perceptions around the age-old firmness, commodity, and delight, and our definitions of excellence in architecture. It would be remiss of me not to mention the small number of those projects received with a public agenda, which our country so desperately needs. This comment extends to you, the architectural community, as well as those we serve, clients in both the private and public sector. If we recognize the capacity for architecture to cut across the constructs of our historic and present political, social, and economic divides, what are we giving then to the spatial experience? What generosities are we embedding to capacitate our future centered on love and equity? It is time that we take to the forefront of serving our country. I, along with my colleagues, I am sure, welcome these projects as beautiful, challenging, and resonant, constructors of this century, delivering hope to our public, and entrust to you the will to do more.
entrusting you the will to do more. Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like you to grab something to eat, stretch your legs. Please can I ask that we are seated at 5 minutes after the hour of 8 o'clock, so we start promptly at 20:10. Bon appetit and enjoy.
universities back in 1987 with a view of investing back into the creativity of the architectural profession, and saw it as an opportunity to get involved with architects in the early stages of their careers, with a view that the profession needed an award that had some prestige, an award that would mean something to the South African building industry as well as the South African architectural profession. These awards for me are so important to bring out the excellence that is available in the architectural profession. And when you speak to the past winners, they'll emphasize that it's made them better architects. It's made them want to strive to present excellent work in South Africa. And it's the visual side of the architecture, that excellent architecture, that visual side, that I think just stands in the face of mediocrity.
The Corobrik Awards celebrates architecture at its peak. These are the best of the best that South African universities have to offer. Architectural companies actually wait for these awards so that they could go to the universities or contact Corobrik to select the best students to be at their practices. When they're at university, they're still very young and they're still trying to find their way, but when they come forward to the Corobrik Award and the experience that Corobrik allows them to be themselves, to grow, they become different people, they become more mature, they look at things differently, they now are architects.
Investment in architecture is investment into the country, and that is nation building. Working closely with various government professionals made me aware that architects definitively play an essential role in the public sector as they bring expertise, creativity, and vision to help shape the future of our cities.
I probably went through 3 months of sleeping 2 hours a night and just kind of really focused on this idea of making something disruptive, unique.
I wasn't expecting to win, honestly. I thought I was just proud to represent my school. At the time, I was proud to represent Wits. I was proud to have gotten to that level.
In fourth year, you sort of get introduced to this huge competition, and it's very prestigious, and it's a big deal among architecture students.
It's probably the greatest moment of my life so far. A lot has been leading up to this for many years.
You always know the odds. It's always overwhelming to actually just be the finalist and to actually win the whole thing, to know that people are out there watching.
I don't think it has fully sunk in yet, but maybe when I have quiet time at home, it'll really sink in. But I feel so grateful and excited at the same time, so quite happy.
Recognition for a student, means a lot because it gives a lot of encouragement.
It validated me and what I wanted to do in terms of career.
When you say Corobrik, to any South African at least, they sit up straight and they pay attention.
When you say I'm a Corobrik winner, all of a sudden you're having a whole different conversation.
I'm putting my foot in the architectural world. I'm about to design great buildings. I'm about to do great things. This is the beginning of everything. And Corobrik, thanks to you for giving me such a moment.
I think it's incredible that this award has continued for so long and is getting such a lot of recognition and has become such a huge celebration, I guess, of what students are doing and the potential that students have to launch their career.
It definitely is something that you look at, and especially if you're employing new young talent, to have that on your CV definitely puts you that one step ahead of everybody else. For me, there's a big difference between the academic world and the corporate world. The Corobrik Awards is definitely that springboard into the corporate world. If you've managed to win the Corobrik Award, and if you think about what that means, you've managed to beat every student in the country and achieve the top award in South Africa. What's stopping you to conquer the rest of the world?
It was a great
adventure, actually, with a panel of people that I didn't really know. I knew the convener, McKenna Makeka, but the others I hadn't met before. And it was a wonderful group of people to work with, and the collaboration and the kind of conversations that started to happen about what makes good architecture, how do we evaluate projects in different locations across the country, was fascinating, challenging, interesting, and in many ways we found a kind of common language of beginning to understand what it was we thought would be significant at this time. I think the team brought many different perspectives to the way that we saw things and what was of critical value to each of the team members. So we had different lenses through which we used to evaluate these things, and in some ways collaborating through those different lenses gave us quite a deep understanding, or layers of understanding, which meant that we could really get a feel for the project from multiple perspectives. So it was never that there was one person that was a kind of a leader and there was a common set of themes that we used to adjudicate. We did have an underlying matrix that we were looking at, but I think that we were really looking for something which dealt with, had some depth to it. I mean, certainly my interest is in architecture which has depth and character, and in some ways the character of a building which grows out of the environment that it's in, wherever that environment is, whether it's an urban place, whether it's a natural environment. You know, that first of all there's a sort of a deep fit, a deep connect with the place that it's from. So I think that kind of local identity, that sort of sense of a kind of regional connection that it had, was really important for all of us, I think. My interest is often also in sustainability in a broad sense. So the kind of idea that buildings perform, first of all, for people, that they are really deeply humane, that they actually really work for the people that they're designed for, whether that's an individual, a community, a neighborhood, you know, it depends who it's for, a school or so on, that it's a custom design to really cater deeply and properly for the functional and aesthetic and aspirational needs of that particular group of people. And then the other aspects of sustainability really are around things like the orientation and the kind of simple architectural kinds of ways in which we cope with dealing with energy, dealing with materials, dealing with orientation, allowing sun in certain times and excluding it at other times. That the passive design of the envelope, for example, and the way that it's orientated and how the building actually manages that relationship to its environment is seen as something that was very important. And then I think a kind of an economy about materials and an appropriateness of materials, that the materials that are used in a way that is not over elaborate, that actually there's a sort of simplicity and a groundedness to the way that those are used. And there's an economy, that there's not just a consumptive kind of approach where you just use everything, you bring as many aspects into it. So I think that sort of ties into the idea of simplicity, that in some ways the idea of buildings which have a calmness, and that they're not all about fireworks, that they're actually about feeling comfortable where they are for the people that they're for, and they do all of that elegantly. And there were some shining examples of architecture which has been designed to be inclusive, to aim to address some of the issues of poverty in our country. And in many ways those really stood out for the panel and for me certainly, where there was an effort to try and tackle this idea of the burning difficulties of the inequalities in our country. And I think that there were a few incredible examples of those which really had a life beyond the project, which when you saw people in them, you could actually visibly see the way in which people were their spirits were elevated by being there. There was a sense of belonging which those projects brought, and I think that is a very critical kind of aspect to work that we do in South Africa now. And sadly that wasn't across the board, because many of the projects that we saw were in the private sector and for perhaps the more wealthy parts of our South African community. So it would be nice to see more of that kind of work, to see architects working towards an end of trying to improve the country, actually putting ourselves in a position where we really try to tackle some of the burning issues of our country at this stage. One of the things that I look for, is the kind of timeless quality that buildings may have. So the sense that they really belong to a particular place and to a particular group of people. I think there was quite a diverse group of projects, some of which seemed to be sort of fairly fashionable ways in which they were handling materials, for example, in different buildings. So the classic, in the domestic kind of residential space, there were quite a few buildings which had steel-clad barn-type buildings with flat roofs and shutters and so on. And a lot of them are very skillfully done, but there was quite a strong theme in some ways in terms of the materiality. It seems quite sort of fashionably with clipped eaves and quite a very sort of stylish photographic kind of architecture, which appears quite not governed, but sort of quite developed by the sort of digital way of producing architecture. There were others which had a more handmade feel to them. So there were a few buildings that tackled sort of using more timber and natural materials like rammed earth or clay or brick. And those often had a quality to them which felt a bit more handmade, felt a bit more often of the place that they were in, rather than seeking a kind of a new international style, a kind of a global identity, but rather looked for something local and authentic. One of my key interests is quite a subtle dimension of architectural design, is how buildings have a quality to them which facilitates people's lives in quite ordinary ways, but in quite surprising ways, and that it actually does things quite simply. It responds to simple needs, but addresses those in great depth and great detail. And I found that in looking at the way that environments work, ecologies work, in looking closely at the way that people live, how do we make good living environments, to me is one of the critical things. How do we make human and the natural world, those environments, talk to each other and work in that sort of way? So for me, the idea of a building and a place that is made, it becomes a living entity. It's a place for humans to live in. So for me, that's a critical lens, really, is how well does a place live? It was a wonderful privilege and to make new friends in this way, and yeah.
Thank you very much. Please give him a round of applause. I'd love to say welcome back, and I hope you've had, in his words, a comfortable health break, and looking forward to the rest of the program. To those that are watching us on YouTube, I hope you've also had an incredible break. And right now, siyaqhubeka, we are going forward. I'd like to call up Architect Justin Cook to help me with the presentation of the Award of Merit, and Ms. Karabo Mutsepe Marutla to assist with the handing over of the Award of Merit certificates. Thank you. Can I just do something very out of context, but I think we had chatted about this, architect. He said that he wants to be brought onto stage. He was meant to be wearing an African ipechu. Yeah? So please, can we do Umlilizelo? Yeah, so hopefully next time he'll actually wear ipechu. You know, the gentlemen know it in the Zulu culture. This is our African tradition. So yeah, thank you, sir. My lady, please smile. Please smile on stage, please. Thank you very much. Woo! I like that one. Right. Justin, I'm going to hand over to you.
Okay. Let me just get this right. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. Are you all having good food and a good night? It's a beautiful evening. Thank you. So I'm here to just announce the first Award of Merit, which goes to Atrium House by Drew Architects.
Atrium House by Drew Architects. This exceptional residence has been thoughtfully designed to cater to the needs of a growing family while forging a seamless connection with its surrounding gardens. The driveway draws you in, creating a grand arrival experience. The home exudes a unique sense of humanity through its clever spatial use and thoughtful design. From the striking mushroom column and intentional building orientation to the cleverly exaggerated length of the structure, dotted with courtyards and atrium park voids, the monolithic nature of the building is ingeniously broken. These green sanctuaries offer intimate encounters with nature, fostering moments of quiet reflection and providing visual and residual connections to others as you move through the home. At the heart of the atrium house lies the inviting living space where family members and guests effortlessly come together, embodying the essence of human connection. The atrium house is an architectural masterpiece thoughtfully celebrating the essence of family life.
Well done and congratulations. The next award of merit goes to Corner of Loft and Heights Projects by Mayat Hart Architects.
Corner of Loft and Heights project by Myatt and Hart Architects. The design guidelines promulgated by housing estates all too often inhibit the creativity of architects. But this was not the case in the new house designed by Myatt Hart. Using the estate's predetermined contemporary barn style, they have generated a series of exciting spaces by creating two contrasting barns arrayed at right angles to one another, each articulated with a different palette of building materials. The four-bedroom family home sits on the estate's smallest site, located close to the street edges. This design has maximized the amount of garden space around which the house pivots. The two barns, connected by a glazed entranceway, are irregularly punctuated by windows which are either punched into or pulled out of the form, framing the experience of the building and its context. Spatially, the building uses volume, its expansion or compression, to define the internal experiences, with intimate low spaces contrasting with tall double-height volumes. This has given rise to a building that is a simple and thoughtful expression of how the clients live. The design emphasized a series of rich experiences across the various pockets of spaces.
The next award of merit goes to the SAIA Academy by Coop Design. They unfortunately, I don't think, are able to attend this evening.
SAIA Academy by Coop Design. This is a training and visitor center cited to set a benchmark for future expansion. Because the building would be erected by the company itself, construction was conditioned by the skills available and resulted in an assembly of prefabricated components in timber, consistent with the zero-carbon ethos. The approach to the regular building beneath a planar roof is down an irregular cascade of stairs to the northern veranda, aside of which lies a garden marked with benches for seating, while sliding timber and glass screens within the skeletal timber frame enclose the building and subdivide the interiors. The building integrates with the energy and water systems of the context, augmented by solar, while for ventilation, fresh air from inside the forest is drawn into the building. The jury found that the building absorbed the setting, was well integrated in the landscape, literally touched the earth lightly, and that with commendable detailing, a sublime piece of architecture had resulted.
And the next award of merit goes to Forest Hideaway by Urbis Architects.
Forest Hideaway by Urbis Architects. The brief was to design a family home as a sanctuary comfortable for habitation that would establish a rapport between building and the green belt of the gated estate. This resulted in a public and a private pavilion for living and bedroom spaces respectively, each carefully orientated and aesthetically resolved, in close and varied contact with the exterior landscape. The landscaping and furnishing were co-essential to the success of the design.
The next award of merit goes to House of the Big Arch by Frankie Papas International.
House of the Big Arch by Frankie Papas. The project impresses with the way it responds to the unique site setting and the very particular personality and personal story of the owners and family. It does not conform to any preconceived notions and facilitates a very close relationship with the piece of earth that the owners love the most. The story told by the process of designing and building played a significant role in the lives of the owners as the finished project does. This project challenges the traditional perception of the house as a living machine. The extreme emphasis on one's awareness and experience of the environment throughout the house is fun and exciting. The building coexists in harmony with natural environment.
Congratulations. And the next award of merit goes to House Potgieter by Earthworld Architects.
House Potgieter by Earthworld Architects. The building was designed masterfully. Working closely with the clients, the building was well executed. Though the home was built on an estate with limited social impact, the design is fresh. Much effort was spent on detailing and technical resolution. The design of the rafters is an expression of artistic freedom, and the use of a polycarbonate roof creates an internal heat zone that was cleverly thought through. The landscaping integration with the building footprint was well executed, and it is imagined that this will only improve with time. The jury congratulates the architect on an off-grid landmark that will hopefully be a catalyst for a higher-aimed architecture for buildings to follow.
The next award of merit goes to Lapalala Wilderness School by Local Studio.
Lapalala Wilderness School by Local Studio. The site, located in the elbow of the river at the bottom of the valley, provides a flat area for the campus layout and offers educational opportunities related to the riverine ecosystem, fertile soil for food gardens, and adds a sense of place by way of the river and adjacent ridge backdrop. From an operational and functional perspective, the facility offers ample capacity, modes, and flexibility depending on the age, type, amount, and frequency of students it caters to. There are various flexible educational spaces that offer learning spaces that range from formal to informal to open air, leisure, and physical education. The buildings, outdoors, and circulation spaces are simple, uncomplicated, and robust in terms of materials, finishes, and construction methods, as would be expected for a public facility. The rammed earth walls, steel pergola, and slatted window screens are elements that raise the aesthetical aspect of the relatively simple buildings. The development succeeds in providing a development that is in total harmony with the natural environment.
Congratulations. The next award of merit goes to Nike Shapa Soweto by C76 Architecture and Design.
Nike Shapa Soweto by C76 Architecture and Design. In 2010, Nike commissioned the construction of a soccer training facility in Soweto. Some 10 years later, Nike decided to expand the facility, and the new architects utilized this opportunity to create a better connection between the existing building and the street and to add additional amenities. The architects create a vibrant forecourt facing the street, encouraging passers-by to engage with activities happening at the center. The forecourt accommodates a skate park, various landscape areas, shaded seating, and a series of retail kiosks that can be rented out when major events take place. Woven steel elements reminiscent of the technology used by Nike in making their sport shoes has been used to create a canopy which, together with newly planted trees, create ever-changing patterns of light and shade, exemplifying the idea of movement. The renamed Shapa Soweto now extends into the community both visually and physically. The existing building was also reconfigured to promote a better relationship with Krishani Drive. Other rooms were reprogrammed with the explicit intention of attracting more female athletes and creating a safe space for young women in the area.
The next award of merit goes to River Retreat by Mark Thomas Architects.
The River Retreat, Camps Bay by Mark Thomas Architects. A variously sloped site, heavily wooded, with a perennial mountain stream running diagonally through it, may not be the most promising of architectural propositions. But this unique project overcomes all possible hurdles with great aplomb. The street entrance offers no clue as to the nature of the difficult terrain. Entry is gained via an informal, open-air, off-street parking area, and a short walk across a bridge descends gently toward the front entrance. It was a deft solution to site the building close against the Erf border in the larger triangular section, enabling beautiful garden and mountain views diagonally back across the stream. The design may be described as semi-open plan, with most interior spaces having the potential of switching from mixed use to something more specific. The sophisticated spatial articulation throughout the entire building and terrain is characterized by a playful sense of expectation and surprise, beyond doubt an architectural gem.
Congratulations. The next award of merit goes to Solplaatje University, new auditorium and office building by urban architects and urban designers. Unfortunately, they are not able to join us this evening, but we congratulate them as SAIA. Thank you.
Solplaatje University, new auditorium and office building by urban architects. The solid thermal mass of the walls stand for the formality of education, while large windows connect the relaxed surrounding outside spaces to the building's interior. Wall cavities are critical voids of both sound and heat insulation, as well as service channels. A textured palette in neutral colors defines the overall materiality of the structure, while necessary bursts of color articulate material differences and less formal places inside and outside the building. Internally, the building consists of a large void seemingly carved into the solid building mass. This volumetric space hosts various rooms at different levels, visually threaded and interconnected, activating haptic experiences and encouraging interaction and movement. The architect's idea was to create a conducive environment for engaged learning. It holds a striking balance between the formality of education and the youthfulness of the user. This is achieved through color, stepped seating, and the airiness of volumes, which may symbolize freedom within the limitations of the envelope. The inventive designs that introduce natural light to central spaces are commendable.
The next award of merit goes to The Folly by Common Architecture.
The Folly by Common Architecture. The design of an artist's ceramic studio with wine and whiskey cellar, which was also to serve as a party venue and annex to a distinctive modern house, saw the remaining portion of the steep site come into consideration. The multifunctional brief was reinterpreted as a retreat in off-shutter concrete and literally merged with the hilltop of the steep natural landscape. The spaces open to an outdoor area from which to enjoy distant views to the ocean. The circular path for ascending is delightful in the designs, creativity, and unseen elegance displayed by The Folly.
Congratulations to them. And the next award of merit goes to the research project Creating Coromandel Marco Zanuso in South Africa by Arthur Baker Architects.
Creating Coromandel Marco Zanuso in South Africa. A very well-crafted, considered and creative exposé which documents a truly seminal architectural artifact, Coromandel. Not only have they provided an accurate and visually stimulating account, but managed to position South African architecture in the global context, in time and space. The book provides insight into a South African vernacular through regionalism, emanating from post-modernity. We have, amongst others, Marco Zanuso and Sydney Press to thank for this. The book brings to life both the personal and relational aspects of architecture through demanding tectonics, bold for its time, but timeless in creation. The authors have managed to position this work within contemporary architecture, theory of sustainability, biophilic and appropriate climatic responsive buildings, today new concepts, but somewhat radical at the time. The literature was evidently researched and successfully curated. It does not dull the reader as it navigates the Project Coromandel through the socio-political environment at the time, South African architecture and its search for definition, and the global postmodern regionalism movement driven by the students of modernist masters. The book reveals the relationship of the owners, the architect, South Africa, and records the evolution of South African architecture. This book could be considered as a seminal piece for architecture students and a must-read for practitioners to uncover lost legacy pieces in South African architecture. The additional supporting information and references are invaluable, combined with the array of images and architectural drawings which illuminate the unconventional but client and site-appropriate plan.
The next award of merit for a research project goes to Threads by Kate Otten Architects.
Threads by Kate Otten Architects. The architectural piece Threads intricately weaves the golden thread of Johannesburg's history into a multifaceted narrative. Beginning with a cosmic event 2 billion years ago, the installation skillfully integrates the meteorite's impact and subsequent gold rush, emphasizing a dangerous liaison between wealth and exploitation. Departing from a linear, patriarchal approach, the piece embraces simultaneous, intuitive storytelling through age-old craft traditions narrated by women. The beaded necklace, a celestial map above the Vredefort Dome, reclaims extracted gold as an African artifact rather than a mere commodity. The contour map backdrop, depicting mining towns along the ridge, contextualizes the narrative. The interplay of light and shadow, mapping the geology, creates a three-dimensional, immersive space that beckons viewers to engage from multiple perspectives. In its intuitive and collaborative design, Threads responds to sensory cues, employing color, light, and pattern to elevate the tactile act of handcrafting. By offering diverse ways of seeing, the architectural piece not only honors Johannesburg's past, but also paves the way for a future that nurtures the human spirit through a richly layered sense of place. Very creative, and indeed a creation of originality to what architecture is, including the potential use of materials.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I ask that we give every single one of our recipients a hearty congratulations, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You've worked hard to be here, so we can only celebrate you. Thank you, and thank you. Continuing with the presentation of the Award of Merit, we will now announce the projects awarded of merit in the sub-award Coverland Concrete Roof Tile Award for Excellence. I'd like to now call upon Devil, Nukia, if you can come and join me, and Willem Grove to join Justin and me on stage to hand over those awards. As they come up, thank you very much to Ms. Karabo Mutsepe Marutla. Thank you very much.
The Coverland Concrete Roof Tile Award is a new sub-award category presented for the first time in partnership with Corobrik and SAIA. The award follows the same award criteria and adjudication process as the Corobrik SAIA Award of Merit and for Excellence. This sub-award recognizes innovative architectural design projects which use concrete roof tiles. The next award of merit goes to Additions to Calling Academy Stellenbosch by Salt Architects.
Additions to Calling Academy Stellenbosch by Salt Architects. Calling Academy is an NPO with the vision to provide quality education to low-income learners. The brief called for much-needed additional accommodation on an existing site realized with a shoestring budget. A prominent, continuous concrete block screen as eastern facade announces the new addition to the Stellenbosch campus upon arrival. Positioned between the original school building and the sports field, the permeable screen creates a circulation spine dappled in varying patterns of light alongside the new additions, all tucked under a large tiled terracotta-colored roof. The roof deepens at the southern end of the building to create a generous veranda overlooking the sport field and scenic surroundings. Programmatically, the new section accommodates a reception, staff room and ablutions, principal office, boardroom, strong room, classroom, library and counseling room in the main pavilion leading to the veranda. A science lab and storeroom is positioned to the north at the entrance to the new addition. Various outdoor levels and volumes, roofed and unroofed, in between built forms, create vital courtyards and outdoor spaces for learners and staff to linger. The project is exemplary in creating spatial richness with limited means. The architectural articulation of pliable indoor and outdoor spaces, undulating roof volumes, and the innovative use of a restricted palette of raw materials create a sense of generosity and resourcefulness, enriching the learning environment to contribute to the Academy's commitment to deliver excellent education in an inspiring setting.
Congratulations. The next award of merit goes to Multi-Purpose Hall and Aquatic Center by Mayor and Associates Architects, Urban Designers.
Multi-Purpose Hall and Aquatic Center by Mayor and Associate Architects and Urban Designers. This contribution to St. Cyprian School campus delighted in its ability to sit independently and as part of a whole. As an entrant into the Coverland Awards for the year, the project's use of the material not only rooted it aesthetically to the campus and surrounds, but celebrated an architectural expression through roof tiles. The project is cleverly cut into the hillside, embedding within it a pool and viewer stands that meet the street level with glazing for passive engagement, natural lighting, and views into the incredible volume. Above sits a multi-purpose court that affords an indoor facility to the school that again is bathed in natural light and generously afforded views of the mountainscape beyond. The courtesy of the architects and urban designers in ensuring the buildings fit into the campus is met by arched, covered walkways that nod to the pre-existing and hint at the new addition.
Congratulations. Thank you very much, Devolt, and thank you, Willem, for your assistance. You can take your seats. Justin and I are still tag teaming. We're holding fort. So we want to say thank you and congratulations to every single one of the projects that have received an award of merit. And to those that are watching us online, I hope you are feeling what we are feeling in this room. I'd like to call up my first tag teamer. Please come on board, Adima Davis, to join Justin Cook on stage to present the award for excellence. Fancy meeting you here. I like that. So the time has come to announce the projects that have been awarded for excellence. As we call the winners onto the stage after the project video has been played, we invite the winners to say a few words, sharing a little bit about their journey working on the project. I'll now hand over to Justin and Adima to do the honors of presenting the award for excellence. And before I go off, I wish to call on stage Mr. Nick Booth, Mr. Orkut van Eerden, and Architecture Claire Makakska onto stage to hand over the award certificate and trophy to the winners. Thank you.
The first award for excellence goes to The Folly by Common Architecture.
The Folly by Common Architecture. The Folly demonstrates to us the potential for architecture's capacity to explore between in the cleverest of ways. Here, too, does trust come to the fore as the client's brief and delivery of the architect marry as a meaningful inquiry into the limits of space as possibility, resulting in a simple line on a hill. It is here that the Folly rests, discreetly nestled within the natural landscape of the slope above the existing dwelling, framing the view of the ocean beyond. There is a sense of intrigue that builds upon approaching the unseen form through the lush garden, fusing natural and built environments. Once within, it alludes to the material palette of the existing dwelling, a nod to its distinctive design and reflecting a coastal way of living, as well as to the necessity for structure and purpose. Tucked into the sloping ground, the concrete surround is an unexpected and wholly immersive experience, elegantly met with black steel and brick, and offset by the warmth of timber. Elegance continues as the space makes use of both slope and wall to contain services and fittings that help render both specific purpose and endless possibility. The central space is bathed in natural light and air, drawn in from the gumpole shuttered light wells above that perhaps serve as the only visual marker of its presence. It is defined, a silent enclave creating the conditions for relaxation, introspection, and the pursuit of artistic and creative endeavors. The simplicity of the architectural gestures made, revealed here in a reduced material palette, render awe as one experiences the exploration of architecture within an existing residential site. An award of excellence is given to The Folly.
Oh man, can you hear me all right at the back? This project was really an honor to be involved in, and never mind to be awarded for. I firstly want to thank and acknowledge our clients, Lisa and Will, who somehow believed in this idea, and not just believed in it, but actually went for it and executed it. They are, in the truest sense of the word, patrons, and so I'm very grateful to them. To Rob, the builder, and his team for their tireless efforts in bringing that vision to life. Every piece of material was either carried up or down a hill, a significant hill to build to build the folly. So for their commitment to deliver it as envisioned, I'm very grateful. It's not often that you get to celebrate with all three of those people, client, architect, and builder, and we were all very happy and all celebrating together at the finish of the project. To my team who are involved in sticking to the vision for their hours of deep work and their trusting the process, thank you to Lee, Miriam, Farah, Mark, and my business partner David. This is all of ours, this award. Thank you to my wife, Sarah Jane, she's sitting at the back, who's been by my side through highs and lows. Thank you, my love. And thank you to SAIA for recognizing our work in this way. It really is an honor. Thank you.
I'm up now. Significantly lower than Mark. Back down here for Justin and I. Yeah. The next award for excellence, beg your pardon, goes to the Lapalala Wilderness School by Local Studio.
Lapalala Wilderness School by Local Studio. An award for excellence is given to the Lapalala Wilderness School, a project which speaks to the principle of exceptional architecture drawn from its own context. The expansive campus is highlighted at the main school, where rammed earth walls arise from the natural ground and clay-paved floors define indoor and outdoor learning spaces, living areas, food gardens, and recreational facilities clustered adjacent to the river's edge. There is a playful use of ramps that make the campus in its entirety universally accessible and give the feeling as though the placement of forms and paths grew organically from the natural environment. Here, the simple warmth of the material palette meets with considered design and detailing that reveal a deep sense of curating an immersive experience for the end user, and promoting the intention of the client to establish a wilderness school that celebrates the beauty of this region of our country and the potential of our people as its stewards. The project as a whole is simple and clear, and design is seen as a true driver for challenging the boundaries of conventional education spaces and producing opportunities for learning didactically through form within nature, and unconventionally through the offering of clever changes in level that create pockets for comfort and flexibility. The Lapalala Wilderness School conveys the need for architecture to expand and play with what is known toward what can be.
Thank you so much, everyone. Hi, I'm Alexia in representation of Local Studio. I think we'll talk a little bit less about the architecture this time and actually more about the work of the school and just a background to the project. First, thank you so much to SAIA, Corobrik, Coverland. We deeply appreciate the recognition for this project. It's extremely dear to us as a firm, not only for its architecture, but also for what it embodies. Like I said, just some background. The school is situated within the Lapalala Wilderness Reserve in the UNESCO Waterberg biosphere and was established over 40 years ago through conservation efforts by Clive Walker and Duncan Parker. These incredible efforts are survived by Dale's son, Duncan Parker, and the Mapula Trust, along with Clive today. When we were first approached for the project, the school had already been operating successfully since 1981 on another site in the reserve, which they had come to outgrow. Our job was to build the school on a new site for the same operation, just at a larger scale, outside the newly introduced Big Five territory. The school's mission, resolutely fulfilled by their director Mashudu Makoka, along with all of their phenomenal educators, is to identify and nurture Africa's future conservation champions. Their target is focused on neighboring communities and community schools, and they've had great success in this, with over 4,000 students passing through the new school premises annually. We're extremely privileged to still be working with the school and have recently completed the next phase of their school campus, a biodiversity center, which is set to open mid-2025. We would seriously encourage those interested to pay a visit to this haven of biodiversity and conservation, And please let the school know when you're in the area. They would love to show you around. Thank you so much.
The next award for excellence goes to the Nike Shapa Soweto by C76 Architecture and Design.
Nike Shapa Soweto by C76 Architecture and Design. In a year where far too few projects that have contributed to the social or public realm of our country were received by the SAIA Awards, Nike Shapa Soweto stands out as a true gem. The project, as an addition to that conceived in 2010, was devised reflecting on the context and viability of the site as at once a continuation of the bustling urban street and as a haven for its users. The clever reorganization of the landscape and additions and alterations to the architecture maximized its value to both client and end user, illustrating firmness, commodity, and delight through subtle making and engagement. The project speaks to the potential for synthesis between architecture, place, and brand, as the material palette of rammed earth, concrete, and greenery below become an undulating canvas to the casting of light and shadow from the steel canopies above that intertwine with an all-too-familiar 26-degree line synonymous with the Nike swoosh, drawing on the energy that is Soweto. Within, the building makes broad gestures and quieter nods in its knowing of its place and users, providing dynamic and vibrant space for becoming. There is a complete sense of the intention for this project to be both in and of the place, a celebration of Soweto and its potential through engagement and ownership. The humility in design and designer were felt, seeing the full site in action during the in loco inspection, and thus were unanimous in the decision to award an award of excellence to the Nike Shapa Soweto.
Okay, sorry, this is very hard, but I'll try. Firstly, I want to congratulate all the other architects for their work and the awards they've won. It's truly inspiring to see the work that they do. I want to thank SAIA and obviously Gifa as well for the judges that went and made the journey to see the project. It is truly humbling for me to be here and receive this award. I think the real hero, there's two heroes here. Firstly, we had extensive client and community engagement in this project from beginning, before we started designing. Throughout the entire project, we engaged at each level of the community. So it's literally a project for the people of Soweto, and it makes me very happy that they get this award. It's less about the architecture, it's more about the smiling joy of the kids that run around there. It's might sound a bit weird, but I go there when I'm in Joburg to look at the kids laugh and smile. Not in a weird way, but it's really cool to see them. It is amazing. And I think that's the joy of what we do. Lastly, we need to acknowledge the client. They've spent, I'm going to say the number, over 100 million in a property that's not theirs since 2010. And Nike South Africa is a truly wonderful company, and they have wonderful people that work for them. So they honestly need to be congratulated for the work that they do in Soweto. Thank you.
Well done. I'm thrilled to announce the next award for excellence goes to the River Retreat by Mark Thomas Architects.
The River Retreat, Camps Bay by Mark Thomas Architects. Retreat is defined as an act of moving back or withdrawing, and is no more fitting than used to name the project the River Retreat. Behind a seemingly ordinary suburban street front lay this considered, playful, and truly wonderful residential experience tucked into the site as nature allows. The project conveys the sense of wonder throughout, from the first moment across the street threshold as one steps foot onto the wood-chipped floor of the garden with the sound of rushing water removing any trace of the city around you, to the view ahead between the trees to a home with a timber-clad tower. Crossing the stream and beautiful garden and entering the home, one is met by the undeniable thought of making. It is crafted, and carefully so, acknowledging the skill of both architect and builder as craftsmen, celebrating recycled brick, slasto, and timber within a home that is of both mountain and sea. The extended internal volumes maximize the home's immersion into the natural environment through varied placements of openings that extend the living areas out, draw in the sound of the stream rushing, and afford views of the sea beyond. As one moves up through the main house and connecting across into the annexed tower, this consideration continues, revealing simple spaces that are given detailed thought and care to create places that envelope you in a knowledge that there is life beyond the city that is for both the body and the mind. This project demonstrates the maturity and richness of an architecture crafted of and for its place, a sustainable sanctuary for being, and is awarded an award of excellence.
Hello, I'm accepting this award on behalf of Mark Thomas, who is my father and also my employer. This was actually the first project that we worked on together. And what he wanted me to say was that projects like this don't come around very often. He's in Greece on holiday, by the way. But we had a site with a river cutting diagonally across it, mountain views and large established trees, and a client who was willing and very creative, who gave us a brief that was for a retreat, not a house. It should be flexible, spacious, but on a very tight footprint, and with this 3-story timber tower that perches over the river. So it was really a special project. The material approach was about recycled brick, a tough material that would withstand weather and time, and low maintenance, local sugar gum internally, pine externally. And so it was, very special to work on. And big thanks to our client, Francis Fortes, and our very skilled builder, Kashif Tofi, and to the Institute for the recognition. Thank you very much.
The next award for excellence goes to Creating Coromandel, Marco Zanuso in South Africa by Arthur Barker.
Creating Coromandel, Marco Zanuso in South Africa. In searching for contributions through this round of submissions, the publication presents new research of an interesting project and story of its construction that brings to light new ways of reading architecture, typology, and landscape in South Africa. The publication is evidently well researched and brings to the fore the collaborative relationship and trust between architect Marco Zanuso and client in knowing the land, landscape, and natural environment. The author's analysis, dotted with archival imagery of photographs and drawings, aids in this understanding toward constructing a representation of what an architecture of the South African veldt could be in that time. Set during the postmodern era with regionalism abound in the post-colonies, the narrative depicts a searching for a definition of a South African architecture wherein, counter to what Zanuso is superficially recognized for in his modular and prefabricated industrial oeuvre, he opts to favor space, function, and location over that of technological construction toward a generative and formative design. What emerges is an organic conceptualization of architecture, a thoughtful response to space and identity of place. This publication, through a forgotten piece of the South African architectural legacy, emerges as a contemporary search for such definition, or perhaps definitions remain. Creating Coromandel packages rich, labored research as an in-depth, detailed monograph and more, and is awarded an award for excellence.
Well done.
A big ambush. A welcomed ambush.
Good evening, everyone, here and online. Our most sincere thanks to SAIA and to the Mpumalanga Institute for the Award of Excellence there and also here. But I accept this award on behalf of a team of people. Without them, this book would not have been possible. Firstly, my thanks to Suzanne, right next to me, who is the daughter of Sydney and Victoria Press, who originally commissioned the house in the 1970s. And without Suzanne, this book would not have been possible at all. I first met her in Coromandel in 2019, when she invited myself and Tion Meyer, who's sitting over there, to visit her at Coromandel to talk about the farm and what we could do in terms of the heritage aspects thereof and the recording of the legacy of the building. But that forged a very interesting journey with a number of wonderful photographs. I then introduced Suzanne to Dr. Edna Perez, who had already written about Coromandel and who was ultimately responsible, together with Dr. Andrea Zamboni, for writing the book together. Edna, you're online. My sincerest congratulations to you and for including me in your pursuits, and congratulations to you for all of your hard work. Similarly to also to all of the authors and peer reviewers that made contributions to this book. But there's been a consequence to the book, a number of things. First of all, the fact that there was a workshop which was organized by Suzanne to, I think, about the ideas for what the house could become over time, to not only preserve it, but to give it a new legacy. So there was a consortium of architects that were involved. There was Thomashoff and Partners, Myatt Hart, and Frankie Pappas, who have done work to make the building have another life. Recently, this wonderful lady here donated all of her family photographs to our archive at the University of Pretoria, and there's a wonderful selection there, not only of the photographs that her father took, but also that were taken by David Goldblatt. So if you're ever interested in looking...
The black and white photos are David's.
If you're ever interested in coming to the University of Pretoria to visit the archive, you're very welcome.
And for the judges and everyone standing here. Yes.
Is it working?
And no, you can hear me. I spoke too loudly before. But everyone is welcome to come and see the photographs by Goldblatt and Press.
And then before my last thanks, I actually remembered while I was sitting there, there's one person I have to thank, and a number of you mightn't remember him. His name was Gus Garnaker. Gus Garnaker taught me at UCT in the 1980s, and he introduced me to this building. He said, go and look in this book at this building. And it was, I think, the Arbitaro, it was the Italian journal that it was published
83.
in. And that was my first experience. So thank you, Gus, wherever you are. And then lastly, to Marco Zanuso. Without your Italian neo-rationalist background and your sensitivity to context, this award would certainly not have occurred. And this house and its landscaping may not have inspired so many of us to be the architects we are today. Thank you very much.
And one more thing.
There you go. The microphone is yours.
As a common bond to Claire, Gap architects were included in the architectural legacy on this farm to build a township. So you might have remembered that project when working there.
Thank you.
Jennifer making a scene. Our next award for excellence goes to Threads by Kate Otten Architects. Threads by Kate Otten Architects. The brief invites the participants as practitioners working at the productive edge between architecture and its myriad others through methodology, materials, or matter, charting new territories of professional and conceptual relevance and urgency. An acknowledgement of the exemplary architectural merit within Threads was unanimous amongst the jury, and thus an award for excellence is offered for its response to the brief and contribution to notions of place and placemaking. What architecture can bring to the public in a city like Johannesburg and country such as our own. The architectural piece Threads intricately weaves the golden thread of Johannesburg's history into a multifaceted narrative. Beginning with a cosmic event 2 billion years ago, the installation skillfully integrates the meteorite's impact and subsequent gold rush, emphasizing a dangerous liaison between wealth and exploitation. Time and space are held in continuum, affording an experience that beckons to the core of what makes us human, at once a part of this place, this earth, and beyond. Using mechanisms of the tangible, mapping, drawing, and constructing, the idea, conceptual development, and design of the exhibition come from a gendered and conscious surrender of the hard confines of the constructed patriarchal world towards this soft sensibility of a simultaneous reality where crafting and collaboration richly intertwine.
Thank you. So I didn't actually think I would stand up here, but here I am, unprepared. I have to say that I'm like a bit shaky from can't believe it. It's 35 years later, and this is the very first time I've ever received an award of excellence. And I think that, and I think for me that it is, for such an unusual piece, is particularly special. And I think it kind of speaks to the quality of the adjudicators, and I don't mean that just because they selected it, both regionally and nationally, because I think that to understand what this piece was about and to accept that it too is architecture is fundamental to I suppose, my receiving this, or us receiving this award. And I think that architecture, sorry Nick, it's not just bricks and mortar, but that it is a much more, it's a much broader field that we belong in. And I think that through projects of this nature, which was part of the Venice Biennale, Mpeti, who is here this evening, Mpeti Morojele, was also part of the Venice Biennale. And I think that those kinds of engagements for us as South African architects, and there were a lot of architects, South African architects, and we were fabulously well represented, is an incredibly important putting us out there, kind of engaging on an international platform, which I think is incredibly important. But I think what this piece does sort of so many things, kind of speaking to so many different layers and so many different people. And I think what it also does, which I think architecture fundamentally does, is that it collaborates. Architecture, I think, is a very collaborative process. And certainly that is the kind of essence of this piece. From the first sort of get-go of Professor Leslie Loco inviting us to participate, to all the wonderful people in my office who were part of thinking about and creating this piece, drawing it, designing, to my colleagues, Mpeti being one of them, Nabil Essa and Tanzim Razak. Despite this being something that we weren't allowed to share with anyone, we had this conversation about the Italian job, which I think was really, so we did kind of in our way speak to each other about what we were developing and how we thought, and we needed some kind of critical commentary. But also to thank the women particularly who were involved in the making of it. Mbali Mtetwa from The Herd, and Francis van Hasselt and Katrina Kamis, you see them all in the images here, who were involved in making the tapestry. It's been an incredible process, and it's still here. It is actually, it's here, it's in Joburg, and it's been on various sort of exhibitions and things, and it is actually for sale. So thank you very much. I'm delighted.
Spoon first.
Those gremlins have returned. We're on? We're on?
We're on.
We're good.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nick Booth and Mr. Ockert van Heerden from Corobrik. You may take your seats. And Claire McCusker, please remain on the stage. Claire, you have to stay. Sorry, you haven't done your duty yet. The final project to be awarded for excellence is the Coverland Concrete Roof Tile Award for Excellence. The winners of this sub-award category win a trip to the World Architectural Forum, WAF, 2024, taking place in Singapore on the 6th to the 8th of November, 2024, to the value of 150,000 Rand. And now, to present this final award, I'd like to call on to stage Mr. Dewald Norkier and Miss Tammy Narain to hand over the award with architect Claire McCusker.
The Coverland Concrete Roof Tile Award for Excellence goes to Additions to Calling Academy by SALT Architects.
Additions to Calling Academy Stellenbosch by SALT Architects. Here, the material choice is elevated in a muted design and material palette. The overarching canopy is seen as a connector of solid and void beneath, providing shelter and identity to the school so deeply invested in its local context. The additions to Calling Academy communicate a simple gesture, drawing from what is known and conveying the potential for what can be. The Coverland Award for Excellence, the first of its kind, is awarded to this project, not simply for its use of the material, but for the consideration taken by the architect to communicate the intention of the client throughout the built form. The school campus is now defined by a beautifully punctuated block screen wall that meets the line of the roof canopy above and hints at the space behind it. Once within, the changing light and capturing of the lush landscape beyond allow this core movement space to sing. Above, exposing the construction of the roof and drawing you down through the school buildings and into the main gathering space and sport field beyond. Internally, the school buildings speak through the muted material palette, affording simple and articulated planning for flexible learning and administration spaces.
Sure. Wow, thank you very much, especially to Coverland for such a generous prize. Very glad that I'm the first one receiving this, because obviously with the next time all the roofs will have tiles on. So, it's very glad about that. Thank you very much. It's what can you say for such a prize like that? I mean, appreciate it very much. And to everyone at our office, JD, my business partner, everyone at our office back in Cape Town, thank you for the hard work and all the efforts. Very inspiring to be with all of you, and appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, cool. Well done to everybody again. If we can have another round of applause for all of our awards for excellence this evening. A final thank you from Tweedledee and Tweedledum over here. It's been an absolute delight. We hand you over to the far more capable Nomalanga. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, you handsome and gorgeous lady and gent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you, Adima and Justin. It has been an absolutely incredible evening. And once again, congratulations to everybody that has been awarded and their projects. I think it was quite heartwarming when they had to have their say, and it was like, okay, I wasn't ready for this. So congratulations, the hard work, the hours you've been putting in has resulted to this. We talked about earlier when we started right at the beginning, again, talking about the level of what we are doing in South Africa, as well as Angela. And I just want to say, amazing quality of projects from this evening. South African architects are competing at a global standard, and we should be proud as South Africans to have a profession that produces such superior architectural work. Please, can we give them a huge round of applause once again? Thank you. We've reached to the end of our presentation for tonight, but before we close, I'd like to acknowledge and thank the following individuals for the hard work that they've put into delivering 2023-2024 Corobrik Awards of Merit and for Excellence in Partnership with Coverland. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the adjudication panel led by our awards convener, Architect Mokena Makeka in his absence, Architect Justin Cook, Architect Adima Davis, and Ms. Karabo Mutsepe Marutla and Mr. Willem Grove. A round of applause to them. Thank you. I'd like to say, secondly, thank you to Ms. Jackie Cullis, SAIA Chief Executive Officer and National Staff sitting at table 4. Thank you. Mr. Nick Booth, Corobrik CEO and team, thank you for your continued support and sponsorship, 30 years and going on. Thank you. I want to say thank you to Mr. Devalt Nokia. Your smile makes a room bright. Thank you. Coverland Managing Director and team, thank you for investing, and we hope we continue the journey with you. I promise you, I always say to people with this grandeur smile, it's Sensodyne, Aquafresh, Colgate, all in one. Thank you, sir. The South African Council for the Architectural Profession, SAIA, for their ongoing support to professional architects. Thank you. To Ms. Penelope Sebe, SAIA Executive Transformation and Marketing, for doing an amazing job in project managing this entire awards program and ceremony. Yes, please. I said to her at the end of today, you can sleep. Thank you. Mr. Anton Opperman from Trigger Finger for putting together the awards videos. Absolutely phenomenal. Please give him a round of applause. To Mr. Kagiso Murake from Kagiso Studios for designing the graphics for the awards. Thank you. Miss Narisa Moodley and her team for making this venue look beautiful. They were here way before 11 o'clock. Please give them a round of applause, please. Thank you. To all SAIA regions, practices, and members for their support in ensuring we have architectural projects to showcase and to award. Please give them a round of applause. Yeah. I want a very huge one. This is the second from last. The award recipients attending in person as well as our YouTube online participants. Please give them a round of applause. As the doctor would say, is the microphone on? Can we please give them even better? Thank you very much. And lastly, all the staff at this institute we call Four Seasons Hotel, the Westcliff, thank you for hosting us, for making sure everything is on point, and continue to do that for others, not just for us. As I end off, I just want to say thank you very much. My name is Nomalanga Stole. Intombe Balamalanga isizulgulane sago jobe kamachana. Umondise. Should you ever need me, I hope you do, you can find me on thevoicewithin.com, and that is a website. And I want to say thank you to these two gentlemen sitting here. I know at some point we put them in glitch tech. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and it's been wonderful. My last announcement. Can I ask the Award of Excellence winner, please, to meet with the photographer, Anton Opperman, for a quick interview. To all our guests, there's more food, there's more drink. Hey, I like that. Please go ahead and network. Until next time, please drive safely when you leave here. We love you all. Goodbye.